The Crow Prophecy, written by Jonathan Cook, Derek Ferguson, and Brent Whiteside. Exterior carnival tent night. A thunderstorm again persists, and the battered remnants of the tent still stand on the carnival grounds. The 4 junior officers approach the tent area on horseback, and they see nothing but an eerie flock of crows circling above the top of the tent. Suddenly, the first officer notices a boy trying to escape from the back of the tent. It is the young orphan boy from the carnival.
Look, what's that?
It is a boy. Let us kill him.
The 4 officers summon their horses and approach and surround the trapped and terrified young boy.
Please, officers, don't arrest me. I'm innocent. I didn't take anything. I was just looking.
Oh, looking.
The other 3 officers laugh as the first officer questions the storm-battered young boy.
Yes, sir.
We happen to be looking as well. We are looking for 2 women that were here. You do not happen to know where they went, do you, young man?
The boy knows, but is terrified as he alters the truth.
Yes, officer, I do. You just missed them. They headed east.
The first officer notices horse carriage wheel tracks pointing toward the west.
Are you sure about that boy?
Officer, my directions may have been a little off.
I would say they were a lot off. Get him!
The first officer starts proceeding toward the wheel tracks that head west, while the other 3 officers harass the young boy, knock him to the ground by force, and kick mud in his face with their horses. The other officers then follow the first officer in pursuit of the 2 women. Interior forest night. It is pitch black dark in the depths of a heavily wooded forest. The elderly mother and her daughter have set up a makeshift camp. While the mother rests, the daughter kindles a fire and warms food for them. She wakes her mother so that they can eat together. As they begin to eat, however, a massive gust of wind from the approaching storm blows through and kills the fire.
My, that was cold.
Yes, and it blew out our fire! Come, Mother, let us just eat in the carriage.
Be careful, too.
Do not worry, Mother, I've got you.
Suddenly, the 2 women hear a noise that seems to be getting louder and louder. They conclude that it's horses approaching them.
What is that noise?
These are horses.
Searchers?
Yes, we must hide.
The officers, who proceed to light lanterns and remove swords from scabbards to the horses, approach the women.
Too late to hide! Get them!
As one officer grabs the daughter, she is forcefully able to break loose, but her clothes get ripped, and the crow tattoo on the back of her neck is now fully visible. As she breaks away from the attacking officer, another officer impales her with his sword, which enters through her chest and exits through the crow on her back. As her daughter is impaled, the mother screams but is attacked by the 2 other officers, one of which holds her limbs and the other viciously kills her by breaking her neck. Exterior forest night. In a secluded area of the forest, somewhat close to the campsite, but where other people and things have been buried, the officers prepare a shallow grave for the fortune teller and her daughter. 2 of the officers proceed to dig the grave, while the other 2 drag the bodies of the 2 women in place to bury them. It is raining so hard that the grave is basically mud and slush. One of the officers, silently looking over the 2 women's dead bodies, begins to speak.
We should erect a cross.
What are you saying?
This is a burial, is it not? We should erect a cross.
Let us see what they have to say. Should we erect a cross?
Fine by me. What do you say, sir?
I say no.
No? Why?
These women practice black magic and witchcraft. They do not deserve a cross. Now put those bodies in there.
The officers place the mother in the grave first, and then get the daughter on top of her. They then basically shove mud and sludge over the bodies until they are completely submerged.
Excellent job, men. Let us depart. And we are off.
The officers all leave the makeshift grave as they ride off into the night. A short time after they depart, a hand, covered in blood and mud, rises from the saturated ground. The hand is that of the daughter, who rises up from the grave while gasping for air. As the daughter struggles to breathe, she feels the wound on her chest, which supposedly killed her, only to discover that the wound has mysteriously healed and only a scar remains. The daughter is confused and looks toward the grave.
Mother! Mother!
The daughter falls to her knees at the sight of the grave and severely mourns the loss of her mother. She then finds 2 tree limbs that have been blown down by the storm, and she pieces them together, binding them with a piece of her torn clothing in the shape of a cross, which she erects at the head of her mother's grave.
My mother was no witch. Bastards!
Suddenly, a flock of crows begins to circle and squawk around the daughter. They seem to guide her in the direction of the horse that was pulling their carriage. The daughter disconnects the horse from the carriage and then gets upon the horse and quickly and forcefully rides back toward the township. As As she is riding off, flashes of lightning appear, and the daughter transforms into a crow and then back into a woman. Exterior carnival tent night. There is almost nothing left of the tent. The outside is shredded, and as the daughter gets off the horse, she is heartbroken at what she sees. Interior carnival tent night. As the daughter enters the tent, she sees that it has been completely ransacked, which was done by a combination of the store, the curious boy, and the sheriff's officers. The only thing of meaning she is able to find is the empty vase, labeled crow's blood, on the floor of the tent. As she picks up the vase and reads the label, she thinks back to her childhood. Interior childhood home at night. As the young daughter gets ready for bed, the mother lights a candle and tells the story to her.
My dear sweet little girl,
Yes, Mother.
I want to tell you a story. It is a story about the crow.
You mean those black birds?
Yes, but they are so much more. Crows carry souls to the land of the dead, and nothing need that. But the crow is an advisor, the keeper of the Lord.
Mother, why do we lug around that big box with a crow on it? And why can you not open the box?
That box can only be opened by you, but upon my demise.
And Mother, I hope I never have to open it.
I hope not either.
The mother kisses the young daughter on the forehead as they continue to talk into the night. Interior carnival tent night. The daughter, somewhat apprehensively, walks over toward the massive box and sees scratch marks on it, where others tried to open it. The daughter grabs the lid of the box, closes her eyes, and opens the box quite easily. She then looks down into the box to find a double-bladed stick and a sickle. She grabs both weapons, attaches them to each of her hands, and then slices open each hand with the opposite weapon. She screams and holds up her bloodied hands, on which the cuts almost immediately seal up and only scars remain. She then turns around to see the young orphan boy who has been attacked by the sheriff's officers.
Who are you? Speak!
I was here earlier. It's good to see you alive. I was worried about you and your mother.
How do you know about us?
Well, it's fairly complicated, really. I tried to get in here several times during the carnival. First, the crowd pushed me out of the way, and then the king was here, and your security man told me to wait, and I did not have a gold coin to enter, so I tried to get one from the king. But once I finally did, then I got beat up by the lawmen. When I was woke, everyone and everything was gone except for your tent.
You suffered much trouble for us. Thank you for that.
You're welcome, madam.
So you came in after we left?
Yes, I'm sorry.
I just do not understand why you did all that for us. You could have been
I
killed.
was simply curious is all. You know, as an orphan, I was somehow drawn towards you and your mother.
I'm so sorry you were an orphan.
It's all right, madam. I've learned how to survive.
You were curious, you say. Did you try to open that box?
No, I did not.
Are you sure?
Well, maybe a little bit.
The daughter shows the boy her scythe and sickle.
So take a look. What do you think?
I like them very much. If you do not mind me asking, where's your mother?
You killed her.
Those men.
You saw them. Who are they?
Don't quite know really, but they were looking for both of you, and I tried to mislead them, for which I was severely punished.
You seem like a good soul.
Thank you. I am sorry about your mother. Who do you think would have wanted you both then?
Not sure exactly. Wait. The sheriff of the township made some sort of threat to me and my mother right after she told me of the king's fortune.
Those were probably the sheriff's men. They also attacked me and robbed me of my coin at the carnival.
Of course, they all wore red bands on their uniforms.
We should bring them to justice.
Hard to do when the law enforcers are the ones breaking the law.
I want to help you. Your mother seemed like a kind lady.
I appreciate that, but you must not get involved. These men know about you, and if you get any further involved, they will kill you. Save yourself.
What about you?
I was never here. And you, where do you stay?
I do some work at the infirmary in the township, and they allow me to stay there in return. They also feed me and clothe me.
Take my horse and go back now.
The daughter sees some white powder near where the potions and spices once were. She retrieves a container of water, pours some of the white powder, and smothers her face with the substance, resulting in her face becoming purely white and pale. Exterior carnival tent night. The daughter and the boy exit the tent. The daughter helps the boy get on the horse, and he begins to ride through the forest and toward the township as the daughter darts off in the opposite direction and toward the king's castle. As the boy rides off, he sees the daughter running, and as lightning strikes repeatedly, he sees her transform into a crow and then back into a woman. The boy has a look of fear about him as he quickly rides off into the dark night. Interior King's Quarters night. It's pouring down rain and the king is sleeping in his quarters. Suddenly he hears a crow outside of the open doors to his terrace. He awakens and proceeds to the outdoor terrace. Exterior King's Terrace night. The king walks onto the terrace and sees the black crow perched on the ledge. Suddenly a bolt of lightning flashes and the king sees the fortune teller's daughter squatting on the ledge. He is startled and looks again to see the perched crow.
Ladies and gentlemen, Crow Prophecy. With us tonight are authors Jonathan Cook and Derek Ferguson. It's a pleasure. All right, well, gentlemen, tell us a little bit about yourselves.
We've been writing together for almost 17 years. We met together at Walmart, and I'm still at Walmart 22 years later. So we just enjoy working together, writing together.
That's fantastic, fantastic. Now, The Crow, as we know it, is mainly, I guess, a modern goth tale.
Yes.
Of a living man just resurrecting, taking vengeance from the dead.
Yeah.
And in your version, it's very medieval.
Yes.
So I was just can you guys tell us more about this vision of yours?
Yeah, we decided to do pretty much the original story, the prequel to the original Crow. The crows that we've seen recently have been in the future. Everybody has guns, so we decided it'd be nice to do a Renaissance theme for Crow. So that's why we went with that.
That's fantastic. So basically, the way you're seeing is that this version of the Crow is all Renaissance. Is this more like English Renaissance?
Yes, it's English.
Old English township. We kind of tried to draw a parallel, in the original movie that was based on the comic book by James O'Barr. He loses his girlfriend. We thought he would have the girl lose her mother, and we kind of alluded to, but didn't come out specifically and say that this is actually a female ancestor of the Crow. What became the Crow.
Okay, that's fantastic. So why the Crow, guys? Like, of all the fan scripts you could have written?
Well, my friend's mother was just diagnosed with cancer, so I was trying to cheer her up, and I know she's a big fan of the Crow, and she was talking to me about, how her mom's going through cancer, and I thought, you know what, let me write something for you to cheer you up about a mother and daughter relationship, and put a little twist on it with sci-fi and something you like. So we finished writing it, and I gave it to her, and she's pretty excited, cried a little, so we're pretty happy about it.
That's beautiful, guys. It's beautiful. Questions? Yes.
Hi. I wanted to say it was pretty awesome. I called it, the writing was pretty Brian O'Malley to me, where it's a pretty smooth script and like what is done in front of the camera will make or break it, and it's so awesome. What I want to know is, what is your aesthetic for it? Like, if you were to see it in movie format, like what would your actual look be? Because in the original Crow, you notice that they did the reverse job, where they knew their aesthetic was basic, but there's so much poetry throughout the film, that's what gave it its life. So, since your writing is very smooth and clean, like what would it look like for you guys if it was to hit the big screen?
To me, it would be very dark, just a very dark atmosphere. There's a lot of rain. Everything practically takes place at night. The only semblance of light really is the carnival and the activity there. Everything else is just kind of dark, kind of moody, atmospheric, I would say.
Okay.
Any others? Yes.
So, does this typify your writing generally, or are you across the genres and different?
We're across the genres.
We're across. This is
we
actually
won-
only our pure sci-fi,
Yeah.
fantasy type script.
We won 19 awards. It's from religion to horror to comedy. just kind of across the board.
Historical.
Historical as well.
True story.
So I mean, I know you said that you had a particular inspiration by these people, but, you know, I was just curious what inspired you to this particular kind of fan genre?
Well, I mean, I kind of get my inspiration from just walking around. My mom always goes mall walking in the morning, so sometimes I would join her, and then I always remember that. So when I'm looking for inspiration, I always walk the mall. It's kind of, my wife's like, "You're a mall rat." But I walked around, and then, you know, we just went and saw the movie, A Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, and she was telling me about her mother, and then we walked into Hot Topic. I'm not sure if they have them out this way.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently they do. And I saw a Brandon Lee shirt up on the wall with a crow on it, and it just kind of took off running from there.
Wow. Thank you.
Another thing was we had heard that that Dimension or Relativity or one of them was doing a remake of the original Crow. So we were kind of like, well, why don't we do an original Crow, you know, rather than go back to the original where Brandon Lee did the role and became so iconic, you know, go back and kind of do it prequel, backstory, and kind of make it something like a take on the Crow that had never been done before.
Anyone else? We're good? Very good. Well, thank you so much, Joe.